My first memories of watching Doctor Who were in the 70s with Tom Baker. I was born in 1973, so I missed the Pertwee years. My first memories are Tom Baker, Leela, K9, Saturday tea time. I did stop watching it on Saturday tea times because I started going to the football with my dad and we never got back in time. Then the show of course shifted to, I think, was it a Tuesday night? So I remember watching it on a Tuesday night until it finished. So when I could afford it, I started to want a collection. So you start picking up tapes. You know, you got really old anthology tapes. You know, all these different series of Doctor Who videos. But I wanted to learn more about the programme. And, you know, before the internet, these come out. This came out in 1991, and it's Doctor Who The Troughton Years, a collection of episodes presented by my favourite Doctor, Jon Pertwee, and it's got complete episodes of The Abominable Snowman, Episode 2, Enemy of the World, Episode 3, The Space Pirates, Episode 2, and excerpts from Web of Fear, The Three Doctors, The Five Doctors, and The Two Doctors, which was Pat Troughton's last appearance as a Doctor with Colin Baker in 1985. I'd like to share this with you today. However, and this is a big however, I'm not going to show any bits of episodes, as the BBC are slightly twitchy about sharing episodes. I saw it recently on one of Adam Martin's fantastic Doctor Who videos that he's had to re-edit it because the BBC have come after it. It does annoy me. I pay my licence fee. My mum and dad pay their licence fee. My grandparents paid the licence fee. So we've paid for Doctor Who, in my opinion, many times over. I know it's intellectual property, but come on, BBC. I did subscribe to BritBox, that I rechristened Shitbox. I thought it was an absolute rip-off, and on principle, after the free subscription, I wouldn't subscribe to it because, look, we've paid for it all. We've all, you know, seen all the episodes. I remember when they were on UK Gold, there was Blake 7, then Doctor Who on every Sunday morning. I think in the late 90s. That was good, but they never repeated on TV. So this starts off my collection. In the next video, we're going to look at the Pertwee years. Just look inside the box, it's quite nice. Of course, video cassette. It's got pictures of other episodes, including Blake 7. So yeah, BBC brought a lot of video cassettes out of Doctor Who and Blake 7. I'll get around to doing some Blake 7 cassettes and DVDs one day. But enjoy the Troughton Years, presented by his friend and our friend, Jon Pertwee.
Hello, and welcome to Doctor Who, The Troughton Years, a celebration of some rare moments of Patrick Troughton's time as Doctor Who. Now, I'm here outside BBC's Lime Grove television studios, originally built as film studios about 1918. This is where many British films, including The Wicked Lady, were made. Now, in 1950, BBC Television acquired the premises from the Rank organisation. And from 1966 to 1969, whilst Pat was the Doctor, he worked here many times. Here's how Pat first appeared as the Doctor, taking over from William Hartnell. That regeneration excerpt is the only remaining material, as far as we know, of the final episode of that story, the 10th Planet. Of course, subsequently, regenerating the Doctor became universally accepted. Next to me is one of the monsters which became well known during the Troughton era, the Yeti. They made their first appearance in September 1967 in a story called The Abominable Snowmen. And this costume is one of the originals. Here's the only remaining episode of that story from Pat's second season. It is episode 2 of The Abominable Snowmen. Well, the Doctor immobilizes the Yeti, of course, and defeats the great intelligence who is completely controlling the High Lama. And Professor Travers does discover a real Yeti, and it's harmless. Now, you may wonder why we can't show you more of that story. Well, after it was felt the early Doctor Who stories had reached their full sales and repeat potential, the archive stock, including Doctor Who, was cut back, and Pat's era was affected most. The Yeti, for example, became instantly popular and made a rapid return in a 6-part story called The Web of Fear, a few months after the Abominable Snowmen. But sadly, only one episode was retained. At the outbreak of World War II, Pat decided to make a rapid return home from the USA. He got a lift home in a ship, which was sunk by a mine off the coast of England. He survived, of course, and he served in the Royal Navy for the rest of the war, reaching the rank of Commander RNVR in the struggle against Hitler. Appropriate then that our next gem from the archives deals with a would-be world dictator. In this surviving episode from early 1968, Pat has 2 different characterizations: the Doctor, of course, and Salamander, the dictator, the enemy of the world. In this 6-part story, as you may have gathered, the Doctor impersonates Salamander, and, as if it wasn't confusing enough, Salamander attempts to impersonate the Doctor and steal the TARDIS, but is finally ejected into space. That story was directed by Barry Letts, who later became the producer of my era of Doctor Who. It's a small world, isn't it? And it was Barry's idea to reunite William Hartnell, Pat, and myself to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the program in a story called The 3 Doctors. Finally, we have an episode of a story that was partly recorded in this very studio. It is The Space Pirates, Episode 2. That was Pat's penultimate story, originally transmitted in March 1969. And the floor assistant, or call boy on the show, was one John Nathan Turner, later to become producer. And in Pat's final story, The War Games, he handed over to a suave, sophisticated, debonair actor, me. Well, I told you it was a small world.